Welcome to AI Book Highlights.
It's great to be here.
Today we're venturing into, well, a really unique area with Max Freedom Long's The Secret Science Behind Miracles. This isn't your standard stuff. We're looking at Long's experiences with ancient Hawaiian magic, Huna.
And the pretty profound ideas about consciousness and, frankly, reality itself that he stumbled upon.
Exactly. Think of this as maybe a shortcut to understanding a system that really pushed back against Western science, especially at that time.
Yeah, Long's work, it gives us this alternative way of looking at things that seem inexplicable. He wasn't just, collecting myths.
No.
He was actively trying to decode a practical system, psychology, power, it's all in there.
So our goal today is basically to pull out the core concepts, see what they might suggest about, well, the world and maybe our own potential.
Right. We'll touch on how he first got into it, this really fascinating origin story he tells.
Oh, yeah.
Some truly mind-bending things he apparently saw.
Definitely mind-bending.
The Huna mile of the self, which is quite unique, and then try to distill some practical ideas from it all for you.
Okay, let's dive in. So Long's introduction, it's centered around this phrase, make luck business.
Make luck business.
Which covered things that, from our perspective, seem impossible. Healing people, influencing outcomes.
Even knowing the future, supposedly.
Right. And Long, he wasn't predisposed to just buy into this stuff. He was deeply skeptical initially.
Oh, absolutely.
What?
I mean, his background was scientific, and then you had the common view of kahunas back then.
Yeah, the missionary accounts.
Exactly. Portraying them as, evil scoundrels, basically preying on superstition, talking about stone platforms, idols.
Even human sacrifice before 1820, according to those accounts.
Right. So that really sets the scene for Long's own journey, moving from total skepticism towards, well, seeking some kind of deeper truth there.
And that journey, it wasn't easy. It was marked by, decades of frustration, wasn't it?
Yeah, he spent ages trying to fit psychic phenomena into a neat scientific box.
Worked with loads of scientists, apparently over 100.
That's the claim. And yet even basic things, like telepathy, they just couldn't pin it down with any single theory. It was a real dead end, scientifically speaking.
Which must have been incredibly frustrating.
Hugely. And what's really interesting is that he basically admitted defeat. He stopped that line of research around 1931, left Hawaii.
Just walked away.
Pretty much. It kind of shows the limits of, well, the science of the day, maybe. Like some things just didn't fit the model.
And then years later, totally out of the blue.
1935, yeah. He's not even thinking about it, apparently, and bam, middle of the night, this idea just hits him.
A crucial clue. It's almost that classic eureka moment, when you stop forcing it.
Exactly. It's just that maybe the answers aren't always found through just logic and rigorous method alone. Sometimes intuition plays a part.
A flash of insight.
Yeah, and that seemed to be the turning point. It sent him down this whole other path that conventional science hadn't managed to light up for him.
Okay, let's talk about the origin story Long presents, because
Oh, wow.
it's quite something, isn't it? He talks about this history, 12 tribes, all with kahunas, living in a fertile Sahara desert. Can you even picture that?
Hard to imagine now, but according to his account, yeah, they thrived there, then moved to the Nile.
And supposedly used their magic, their Huna, to build the Great Pyramid. And even rule Egypt through this power. It's ambitious.
It's a grand narrative, for sure.
Yeah.
But it serves a purpose, right? It establishes Huna not just as some island folk magic, but as this ancient, powerful tradition.
Rooted in, the bedrock of civilization.
Exactly. It gives it weight. Suggests it's not random superstition, but maybe a carefully guarded system with a deep history.
And then there's the preservation part. They foresee this coming intellectual darkness.
Kind of psychic foresight.
Yeah. So 11 of the tribes apparently psychically scout locations and then migrate across the Red Sea out to the Pacific Islands, all to keep the secret, the Huna knowledge, safe.
It's an incredible story of deliberate cultural preservation across vast distances. Meanwhile, the 12th tribe goes to the Atlas Mountains.
Which is how the knowledge eventually gets passed down, eventually reaching this Englishman, Stuart, through a teacher named Lucci.
Right. And that language barrier Stuart faced is key. He couldn't just learn the magic. He needed the specific secret language that held the concepts. It highlights how unique this system was, maybe encoded right into the words.
And then, decades later, Long connects Hawaiian words to Stuart's notes from the Berbers.
Yeah, finding similarities that pointed back, possibly to Egypt, to this Red Sea of Cain he mentioned. It adds another layer of potential connection and antiquity. It's fascinating, if speculative.
Okay, shifting gears to something Long claimed to witness firsthand. This one really pushes things.
The lava walking.
The lava walking. He says he saw kahunas walk barefoot over incredibly hot, fresh lava flows, no burns, no injury.
While his own sturdy boots and socks were getting charred just being near it.
And someone else, an expert apparently, tried to test it, poked a stick in the lava.
And got burned fingers instantly, reinforcing that this wasn't just about tough feet or mind over matter in the usual sense.
It seemed like they were genuinely unaffected by something that should have caused severe injury.
Yeah, the contrast is stark. It strongly suggests, according to Long, that they were tapping into something else, something beyond normal physics.
And the explanation he got? It's mind-bending.
Basically, two sets of natural laws. One for our physical world.
The one we know.
Right. And another, stronger set for the other world, which could actually neutralize or override the physical laws.
Wow. And the detail about the tech leaves wrapped around their feet burning off, but not their skin.
Exactly. It emphasizes the intense heat they were immune to. It fundamentally challenges our baseline understanding of reality, suggesting layers of laws, maybe.
It really does. Okay, so how did these kahunas understand the person, the psyche, to achieve such things? They had this model of three selves.
Three souls or spirits within each person. This is central to Huna psychology.
You have the low self, the unihipili.
Then the middle self, the yuan.
And the superconscious, or high self, the omakua.
And crucially, each one uses a different level or voltage of vital force, which they called mana.
So the low self, unihipili,
Yeah.
that's connected with memory, right? And this shadowy body, the akai body.
Yeah, described as being sort of sticky, sending out threads to connect with things. It sounds a lot like our modern concept of the subconscious, doesn't it? Holding memories, emotions, ingrained patterns.
Totally. And the middle self, Yuhaman, that's more like our conscious mind.
Exactly. The seat of reason, willpower, your everyday waking awareness, the part that thinks and decides.
But then there's the high self, the amakua. This sounds different, like a parental spirit.
Described as parental, utterly trustworthy, and it's the source of the most powerful vital force, ManaLoa, the highest voltage.
Which was needed for the really big magic, like the instant healing claims.
Precisely. Yeah. And the relationship with this high self wasn't about fear or worship in the typical sense. It was framed as being about love and trust.
So prayers and rituals were directed there to connect and ask for help.
Yes, addressed to this dual-natured high self. It was about fostering connection and making requests, not appeasement or sacrifice. They even had symbols, like the vine, ma, for connection.
And the mountain peak, ku'a, for the high self's elevated state. It's quite a rich psychological model.
Very much so. A unique framework for understanding ourselves and our potential connection to something more.
Okay, so that's a lot of fascinating, maybe even challenging ideas. Let's try and bring it back to us, listening now. What can we actually take away and maybe apply?
Good question. I think the first one comes directly from that three-self model, recognizing the power of the subconscious, the low self.
Right. The kahunas saw the need for the conscious mind, the middle self, to guide it using reason.
Yeah. So for you listening, this could mean paying more attention to your automatic habits, your emotional triggers, those gut reactions.
Becoming more self-aware.
Exactly. Reflecting on what you really want versus what might be old programming or illogical impulses running the show. Trying to get your low self on board with your conscious goals.
Okay, that makes sense. What about takeaway number 2? Maybe something from those more extreme examples.
Well, the firewalking, the healing stories, they really point towards the potential power of focused belief and intention.
How our minds might influence physical reality more than we think.
Perhaps. Now, obviously, we're not saying go try walking on hot coals.
Please don't.
Please don't. But it prompts a question, doesn't it? How might your beliefs, your deeply held intentions, be subtly shaping your health, your experiences?
Could cultivating a more focused, maybe more positive mental state actually create tangible benefits? It's worth considering.
It invites you to examine the limits you might unconsciously place on yourself or your well-being.
And the third takeaway, it probably relates to that high self concept.
I think so. The idea of the Amakua as this source of wisdom and power that you can actually connect with and ask for help is compelling.
Even if you don't take it literally as a spirit, maybe it represents a deeper intuition.
Exactly. Or a higher aspect of your own consciousness. The takeaway is to explore that possibility. can you learn to connect with that deeper wisdom for guidance?
So practices like meditation, maybe, or just quiet reflection.
Or even just consciously setting an intention when you face a challenge. Okay, I'm seeking inner wisdom on this. It's about fostering that potential connection to a part of yourself that might hold answers your everyday mind doesn't see.
It really is a rich tapestry of ideas in the secret science behind miracles.
Definitely. The Huna world long describes it challenges conventional thinking on so many levels.
From defying physics to understanding our inner landscape, the three selves, connecting to a higher intelligence, it leaves you with a lot to mull over.
It certainly suggests there might be hidden potentials within us, and maybe reality is more layered than we usually assume. Ancient wisdom might still have things to teach us.
So if these ideas, these glimpses into this secret science have caught your interest, and you want to go deeper into the source material,
Which we definitely recommend for the full context and Long's detailed accounts.
we highly encourage you to pick up a copy of The Secret Science Behind Miracles by Max Freedom Long. We've put a link to purchase the book in the description below.
It's a fascinating read, whether you take it literally or as a powerful metaphor.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us today on AI Book Highlights.
Thanks for listening.